Hello students. So let us consider the second question from the practical 3, that is practical on Bayesian credible intervals. The question deals with uniform distribution, not uniform distribution but a PDF theta by x square. So we have a random sample from uh, PDF theta by x square where x should be greater than or equal to theta. Then the prior distribution of theta is supposed to be 1 by theta. So we are told to get the posterior distribution of theta and then plot the posterior distribution of theta and then compute the highest posterior density credible interval for theta. So let us find the solution one by one. So now because we have a random sample of size n, so the PDF will be like this: product of theta by xi square, where each xi should be greater than or equal to theta. So I have attached an indicator function to include the condition in the PDF. So this indicator function is 1 if xi is greater than or equal to theta and 0 otherwise. So now because each xi has to be greater than or equal to theta, so we can shorten this by indicating that the minimum of xi is greater than or equal to theta. So the minimum is denoted by x ordered 1. So instead of taking the product of indicator functions, it is same as the indicator function of the event that x ordered 1 is greater than or equal to theta. So now this becomes the joint PDF of xi is given theta. Now prior is given as 1 by theta. So the joint distribution of xi and theta will be the product of the two. So it will look like this. Now notice that this condition that x ordered 1 greater than or equal to theta has to be there. So because otherwise the PDF, so the joint PDF will again be 0. So I have tried to simplify the condition by writing it like this. So this will be the expression of the joint PDF of xi and theta if theta is less than x ordered 1, which is less than x ordered 2, which is less than x ordered n, and so on. So now let us see how the posterior distribution will work. So let us first find the marginal joint distribution. So I'll simply say joint distribution of x1, x2, xn. So we will have to integrate this out with respect to theta. So let us see if we integrate out what should be the limit. So clearly because here PDF involves theta, so theta has to be greater than 0 and x ordered 1 has to be larger than theta. So the limit of theta is 0 to x ordered 1. So integrate theta raised to n minus 1 upon product of xi square over the limit 0 to x ordered 1. So if we do that, we get finally x ordered 1 raised to n upon product of xi square into n. Product of xi square will be just a constant. Theta raised to n minus 1 integration will be theta raised to n upon n over the limit 0 to x ordered 1. So it will be simply x ordered 1 upon n into product of xi square. So now the range of xi will be simply greater than 0. Now, so the posterior distribution will be the ratio of the two, that is the joint distribution of xi's and theta divided by the joint distribution of xi's. So it will be n theta raised to n minus 1 upon x ordered 1 raised to n, where the range of theta is 0 to x ordered 1 and it will be 0 otherwise. So notice that this is a Pareto distribution with parameter n and x ordered 1. So we started with the PDF theta by x square with prior distribution as 1 by theta. Then we ended up getting a Pareto distribution as the posterior distribution of theta. So now notice that as theta increases over the limit 0 to x ordered 1, the posterior distribution is going to be increasing. So it's an increasing function of theta. So this fact must be noticed before deriving the posterior interval, that is highest posterior density credible interval for theta. So let us now try whether we can obtain the highest posterior density credible interval for theta theoretically. So let us try to work it out. So now let us first try to construct an interval for this type of posterior distribution. So credible interval will be of the type C, where we are gathering all theta such that the posterior distribution is at least greater than or equal to k alpha. So if we consider an interval of this which collects thetas like this, then if we substitute the expression of pi theta given x, it will be simply collection of all theta such that n theta raised to n minus 1 upon x ordered 1 raised to n greater than say k alpha, where k alpha is a positive constant which depends on the confidence coefficient of the interval. So upon simplification, this will be simply theta raised to n minus 1 greater than something which depends on the sample size, the data and the constant k alpha. So it's like another constant which depends on alpha and x. So I am writing it as a constant. So because I have a range or the limit on theta raised to n minus 1. So equivalently we can obtain a limit on theta. So this will be theta greater than the constant raised to 1 upon n minus 1. So let us call this whole as a constant which depends on alpha and x1, x2, xn. So let it be denoted by a alpha x. So I have an interval which starts with a alpha x, and we should not forget that the upper limit for theta is x ordered 1. So because I am getting only a one-sided interval, so automatically the upper limit of the interval will be simply the upper limit of theta, that is x ordered 1. So the interval will be a alpha x to x ordered 1. Now why did it happen? Why do we get an interval of this type where only lower limit is meaningful and the upper limit is obvious? So that is because of the monotonous nature of the posterior distribution. So this will happen always whenever you are dealing with a posterior distribution which is monotone function of theta. So it can be a decreasing function or it can be an increasing function of theta. So if it is an increasing function of theta, I will have interval of this type. This depends on the nature obviously, but you can easily solve this for every posterior distribution which is monotone in nature. So I have got the interval. Now what needs to be found is that I must find k alpha, largest possible value of k alpha, such that posterior probability of this interval is at least 1 minus alpha. So let us see how can we find it. So now posterior probability of this C should be at least 1 minus alpha. So let us first find the posterior probability. So it is probability that theta greater than a alpha x. So this will be simply because this expression I have obtained by using the expression of the CDF of posterior CDF of theta. So it will be like this. So posterior CDF of theta at u. Here I should have included given x, but I hope you will understand. So this will be simply u raised to n upon x ordered 1 raised to n as long as u is between 0 to x ordered 1. So probability that posterior probability of the set C will be simply 1 minus a alpha x upon x ordered 1 whole raised to n. Okay. So now if I substitute the expression of a alpha x, I get the posterior probability simplified like this. So 1 minus k alpha upon n raised to n upon n minus 1 into x ordered 1 raised to, now see this will be, here I had x ordered 1 raised to n into n upon n minus 1. So that will be n square upon n minus 1 minus this n. So n square upon n minus 1 minus n. So that gets simplified, and what I get is finally 1 minus k alpha by n raised to n upon n minus 1 into x ordered 1 raised to n upon n minus 1. Alright. So now because we are looking for k alpha such that largest possible positive k alpha such that the posterior probability is at least 1 minus alpha. So compare this posterior probability with the constant 1 minus alpha and try to solve the equation. So this should be at least 1 minus alpha, means k alpha x ordered 1 upon n whole raised to n upon n minus 1 should be less than or equal to alpha. What you will do from here to here, to get from here to here, you will have to first subtract 1 from both sides and then multiply it by minus 1. So when you multiply it by minus 1, the inequality will get inverted, and so you will get a condition of this type. Now we want a condition on k alpha. So let us try to simplify this further. So this will be n, you can take on that side. First take the power as n minus 1 by n on the both sides. So you will get alpha raised to n minus 1 by n. and then what will remain is n and x ordered 1. So take them to that side, so you get the constant like this. So thus we want largest positive k alpha which fulfills this condition. So automatically that will be true if you take k alpha equal to the upper limit obtained here. So we choose k alpha equal to alpha raised to n minus 1 by n into n upon x ordered 1. So if we put this back in order to find the interval, we can derive it like this. So a alpha x will be simply k alpha x ordered 1 raised to n by n raised to 1 upon n minus 1. So x ordered 1 raised to n upon n minus 1. So that will be simply alpha raised to n minus 1 by n x ordered 1 raised to n minus 1 whole raised to 1 upon n minus 1. See how did we get this? So you can have a look at the expression of a alpha again. See, here was the expression of a alpha. A alpha was k alpha into x ordered 1 raised to n upon n whole raised to 1 upon n minus 1. Now k alpha we got as alpha raised to, see here, alpha raised to n minus 1 by n into n upon x ordered 1. So this into n and this upon n, they will cancel each other. Then I had x ordered 1 raised to n here, and there I have upon x ordered 1. So I'll have x ordered 1 raised to n minus 1. Sorry, I forgot to write x ordered 1 here. This ratio, in this ratio we should have upon x ordered 1. So this should be k alpha x ordered 1 raised to n upon n into x ordered 1 whole raised to 1 upon n minus 1. And so we have alpha raised to n minus 1 upon n into x ordered 1 raised to n minus 1. Oh, I'm sorry. Here the equation is without the expression of k alpha. So automatically when you substitute k alpha here, you get alpha raised to n minus 1 upon n into n. So n gets cancelled and x ordered 1 raised to n minus 1 will be there. So it goes like this. So this n minus 1 gets cancelled with this n minus 1, and what remains is simply alpha raised to 1 upon n into x ordered 1. So thus the highest posterior density credible interval for theta is alpha raised to 1 by n x ordered 1 to x ordered 1. Notice that you are multiplying x ordered 1 by a constant which is between 0 and 1, that is alpha raised to 1 by n. So automatically this is going to be smaller than x ordered 1. So notice that here, because we say that highest posterior density credible interval should always contain the most likely value of theta. In this case, the posterior mode, that is the most likely value of theta, is x ordered 1. So now the interval ends at x ordered 1. So whether you keep it as an open interval or closed interval, but ultimately because the posterior distribution is an increasing function of theta, so the modal value, that is the posterior mode, comes to be at the highest possible value of theta. So you can say that the interval ends at the most likely value of theta. That's it. So let us see whether we can calculate the highest posterior density credible interval in some other way or not. So now notice that we can simplify this procedure of calculating the highest posterior density credible interval by focusing only on the fact that HPDCI is of the form A to x ordered 1, where A is such that probability that theta greater than A given x is at least 1 minus alpha. So how do we conclude this? That the interval should be of this form. So that is because we have an increasing function of theta as the PDF, posterior PDF of theta. So automatically when you compute the when you compute the HBDCI, you would be ending up with an interval of this type. So now we simply want to find A such that this is exactly equal to 1 minus alpha. Now why are we happy with this only? Why don't we try to adjust A? So notice that HPDCIs are always the intervals having minimum length. Now here the upper limit of the interval is fixed. So automatically I cannot have multiple constants, say A1, A2, A3, such that each of them have probability as 1 minus alpha. So for example, suppose I have A1 less than A2, and I'm considering two intervals. One is A1 to x ordered 1, and the second interval is A2 to x ordered 1. So now suppose both the intervals have posterior probability at least 1 minus alpha. But because A1 is less than A2, so automatically in order to minimize the length, you will prefer the interval A2 to x ordered 1, where the posterior probability will be exactly 1 minus alpha. So thus the computation of HPDCI gets simplified in case of monotone PDFs. So in order to find the credible HPDCI here, we just have to find a constant A such that the posterior probability of theta greater than A is simply 1 minus alpha. I have elaborated this point in the R program. So now how do we find A? So what we need is simply solve this equation. So 1 minus A raised to n upon x ordered 1 raised to n should be equal to 1 minus alpha. So A raised to n should be equal to alpha times x ordered 1 raised to n, means A should be equal to alpha raised to 1 by n into x ordered 1. So see, we got the same interval. So we could have saved our time by focusing on the fact that posterior distribution is a monotone function of theta. So let us see whether we can easily verify these things in R. So let us try to see how we can compute HPDCI in R for the same question. So first we have to generate a random sample of size 20 from the PDF theta by x square, where theta is to be taken as 1. So let us specify the sample size n as 20. Now we are looking for 95% confidence interval. So we choose alpha as 0.05, theta as 1. Now in order to simulate random sample from theta by x square PDF, we have to invert it. So we apply the probability integral transformation. So if we compute the CDF of the distribution, it will be 1 minus theta by x. So x will be simply theta upon 1 minus f of x. So let us first generate random sample from uniform 0, 1. So these values will be treated as the values of the CDF, and then the formula can be applied here. So let us generate observations from uniform 0, 1. Then let us compute the random sample. So this is how the random sample is. Now how do we know whether it is right or wrong? So a simple way is to check whether every x is greater than theta or not. So here theta is 1 and the minimum of x is 1.04. So yes, every x is larger than theta. Let us have a look at the histogram of the values. So it looks like this. Okay, now I am going to store x ordered 1 in t. So suppose t is the minimum of x. Now we are told to plot the posterior distribution. So let us plot it. So in order to plot the posterior distribution, we take the values of theta for which the posterior distribution is to be computed. So now the range of theta is 0 to x ordered 1. So I am generating a sequence of values starting from 0 ending at t with length equal to 1000 here, and I am storing it in th. Now I'll calculate the posterior PDF for all these values stored in th, and we'll store these values of posterior PDF in the variable ps PDF. Now let us have a look at the plot. So see, as we have noticed earlier, the posterior distribution is an increasing function of theta. See here, it's an increasing function of theta. In fact, it is almost constant till the point 8, and then it rapidly increases. So now what will happen if we want to find an interval for this kind of posterior distribution? So what we do is we choose all the values of theta for which the posterior PDF is greater than or equal to K alpha. So now suppose K alpha is at 5. So let us draw a line at the point 5 here in this graph. So AB line H is equal to 5. So see here, this is the line. Now our procedure tells that I have to find theta such that this posterior distribution is greater than 5, means posterior distribution corresponding to all these points. So it means I should look at the x-axis for the range this. So it is somewhat closer to 0.94. So I am adding a vertical line at the point 94. So see here, okay, it's not working because the sample has changed. So we have to shift on the right side a bit. So maybe 0.97 will do. So see here, so somewhat correct. So let us obtain the plot again. So see, this is how it looks. So it's like this 0.97 to 1. This is going to be my interval corresponding to this posterior distribution, something of this type. Now we have derived that if alpha is the 1 minus alpha is the coefficient of the interval, then the constant is a, that is a is x ordered 1 into alpha raised to 1 by n. So let us compute a. So a is 0.8953446. So now notice that here I had chosen 5 arbitrarily. Means if I compute the posterior probability for the interval 0.97 to t, I don't know whether it will be at least 1 minus alpha or not. This we did not check. Through this example, I just tried to demonstrate that if we try to find a highest posterior density credible interval, that is if we follow the procedure for the construction of highest posterior density credible interval for a PDF which is increasing, strictly increasing in theta, then we will always end up with an interval of the type A to x ordered 1. So the lower limit of the interval will be a point between 0 to x ordered 1 and the upper limit will always be x ordered 1. So because the upper limit for theta is x ordered 1. So suppose the lower limit is a, so I am storing it in L, and the upper limit is t, so I am storing it in U. So the interval now is 0.89534462 to 1.04002. So notice that this contains the true parameter value, that is theta equal to 1. Now suppose purposely we forget the fact that the PDF is an increasing function of theta and we follow the R code which we have developed for computing highest posterior density credible interval. So the procedure starts with the choice of different values of K. So now how do we choose these values of K? So I have discussed this earlier also in several videos. The K should be chosen such that the lower limit of values of K is the point which gives the interval which carries posterior probability greater than 1 minus alpha, and the upper limit, that is the last possible value of K alpha, should be such that the corresponding interval carries probability less than 1 minus alpha. So here accordingly I have chosen the limit as 1 and 1.5. Okay, so now LEK, in LEK I am storing the length of K. I don't need to do actually, LEK is simply 5000. So now C mean, that will be the lower limits of all the intervals, C max is the upper limit. In probability I am storing the coverage probability of the intervals, and now because we are looking for the constant, so delta is 0.05. Now in order to compute the coverage probability of these intervals, first we will need the expression for posterior CDF. So posterior CDF we have already derived, that is nothing but theta upon x ordered 1 whole raised to n. So suppose I develop a function titled PSPDF like this, where the function is returning simply the value of the posterior PDF at point A. So let us run this. So posterior PDF at point T should be 1. So if you want to check whether it is working well or not, check the value at T. It should be 1. So yes. So now let us repeat the procedure which we have used earlier for identifying the highest posterior density credible interval. So the same code, R code we are using. So see what do we get? So see we got 0.8953125 to 1.04002. So see, and what was the earlier interval? So almost same. So if you notice, the lower limit is 0.8953446, here it is 0.125. So this much variation will be definitely there because we are taking values of k chosen by us. So we are not considering an infinite set of values of k. Ultimately 5000 means we are dealing with a finite set of values of k. So this much difference is going to be there. But it looks like the highest posterior density credible interval is same. So instead of going by the longer route, that is inverting the PDF and then simplifying the answer, in case of monotone posterior distributions, we can simply obtain the interval by identifying the exact nature of the posterior distribution. So if it is increasing, then the interval will always be of the form a to the upper possible value of the parameter. And if it is decreasing, that is if the PDF is a decreasing function of theta, then the interval will always be of the type lower limit of the parameter to some point, say a.